I like to think that it's not so much my chosen path as much as the path chose me. You know what I mean? I mean, comic books have been around since the dawn of time, right? I mean, you look at cave paintings. I mean, that's a bunch of drawings, right? I think we don't have to limit ourselves to these dwarfs of history. I mean, I'd like to think Gandhi was a great influence for me with what he did in India. I'd like to sort of do that to comics. To passively resist the colonization of comics. I don't really remember per se who he was resisting, but I'd like to resist them. Sure.
So you see yourself as Gandhi and Charles Schulz as the British Empire. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I could say that. Yeah. Well, I've always thought of myself as sort of a mixed medium artist in that I use ink and paper and pencil. I mean, obviously, to the average person, using both, words and images, it's almost like...
It seems daunting.
If you were to go to a person on the street and say, hey, buddy, how's it going? Would you like to use some words on an image? They'd be like, who are you? In these characters, I can embody everything, all of my influences, from my parents and friends to, Shakespeare, Homer, Herbert. Herbert is a mouse. He works at an office.
I know that your father worked in an office.
Yeah.
For many years.
Yeah.
And it's got to bring up the question: is Herbert your father?
Is Herbert my father? Well, yes and no. I mean, for one thing, Herbert's on paper, so he's here all the time.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Sure.
So I guess in that aspect, he's not really like that at all. Cleveland brings all that, all the gluttony and the sin, but the love and the joy, and the hate and the sadness and, the liking but not loving, but kind of liking things as well. I paired Cleveland with a working class man.
And that working class man is Sam? Is that
Sam is a working class man, and I think that you don't see that sort of stuff on the Sunday page, The average comic book character is always hanging out with beautiful ladies, wearing the finest clothes. It doesn't reflect reality,
If you wouldn't mind, we would love it if you would go ahead and read one of the scripts to one of your comics for us.
Sure. Great. Yeah, let me just go ahead and read you one of my upcoming pieces. Okay. So Sam walks in, and Sam says, say Cleveland, I made some manicotti.
Okay.
An invitation to gluttony.
And through Sam's creation of the manicotti, you in fact suggest that we create this culture from which we ultimately suffer.
Yes.
Would that be...
I do say that. We reached the central panel, the middle panel.
So in this middle panel, Sam says...
Sam says nothing. Nothing at all. So finally we arrive at the third panel, where Cleveland responds, that was better than coffee.
That was better than coffee. The manicotti was better than coffee.
Right.
There are 3 characters in your script.
Right.
There is Sam, there's Cleveland, there's Herbert. Where are the women in this comic? Do you worry that you may be accused of sexism of a limited viewpoint because of this sort of lack of the female character?
I think the kind of people who would call sexism are themselves the people with the limited viewpoints, They can't see that, in a complex way, the world is pretty much made up entirely of men,
Entirely of men.
Entirely, completely of men.
Not, of course, to contradict you, but I believe it's about... Isn't the world about 52, 53% female currently.
I mean,
as of the latest census polls.
I guess, but I mean, how often? I mean, I think I've seen a woman all day.